Ladies and gents, when you hear the name 4231 Joker for a tactic, the first thing I'm thinking of is hard hitting, then hard attacking, then some sort of bizarre, funny formation. But in truth, doesn't do any of that. Going straight into the tactic, you can see that there is no funny business whatsoever with it. It is a straight 4-2-3-1. I don't know why it's called the Joker. You can look online and find the video for the guy who made it. He did use the Turkish league, however. We are using the Premier League, so that might be the difference. Massive difference in quality. His team scored 280 plus goals. We'll get to the stats and see what Man City has done. I highly doubt that Leeds and Bournemouth scored 280 plus, but we'll take a look in a minute. But for the tactic itself, it is a sweeper keeper on defend. It is two wingbacks on attack. It is a central defender playing on defense in both slots, a deep line playmaker on support, a ball-winning midfielder on support, an inverted winger on both sides for attack, an advanced midfielder in support, and then an advanced forward in attack. So that's the structure of it. Positive mentality. It is apparently not based on any tactical style that I can see, at least. So in possession, though, fairly wide. You overlap on the left, right, and play out of defense. Slightly shorter passing directness. Tempo is slightly higher. And then that's it. In transition, you can see counter press, counter, distribute quickly, and then take short kicks. Out of possession, higher press line of engagement, higher defensive line, and trigger press much more often. And that is the tactic. That is all you get with this. Seems somewhat basic, which is nice to see. But now, stats-wise, how did it do? As you can see, let's go to the league table. Man City absolutely crushing it. 31 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. Wow. All away from home. Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Everton. But 96 whopping points. Absolutely crazy. 132 goals for, so not too bad right there. Not quite the 280 yet. Let's see what they've done in the other leagues. But overall, fantastic for Man City. Bournemouth, however, scheduled to be last, so they're mid-table. That is actually not too bad, but 14 wins, 7 draws, 17 losses, 49 points. Definitely a much lower gulf between the relegation spots in Bournemouth than Bournemouth and the top spots. But overall, 11th place is a fantastic place to be for Bournemouth. Now, Leeds, on the other hand, relegated dead last. They did manage to get 5 wins, 6 draws, 27 losses. That is crazy. 21 points, so relegated by a far margin. Overall, though, 82 goals for Leeds, only 66 for Bournemouth. So goal-wise, it did work for Leeds, but unfortunately, that didn't bring them out of the relegation zone, and they are dead last. But I'm going to say this is probably a much more attacking-focused tactic than it is defensive. Let's take a look at some of the schedules. Man City, first off, the Sea of Green, a 1-0 loss away against Everton, loss in the Champions League Group E, but then a Sea of Green continuing, Arsenal draw, Champions League loss, 1-5 against PSG. They are not good away from home, apparently, sometimes. But then they won 6-3 in the Champions League with PSG. Unfortunately, that does not see them through. You can see 5-0 against Peterborough in the FA Cup quarters, FA Cup semis against Southampton, so they had somewhat of an easy run, it looks like. Oh, FA Cup against Chelsea right there, not too easy. But they did win against Bournemouth 3-0 in the FA Cup. Bournemouth actually getting to a final. So good to see. Sad they didn't actually win it. You can see Man City, Bournemouth 3-0, Bournemouth 4-1 at the tail end of the season. Leeds right there, 4-0 at home. Leeds away 3-1. And then Bournemouth, where's Bournemouth? Right there, 8-2 at home. Home is definitely much more of an advantage for Man City than away. If we look at Bournemouth, since they're in second, definitely much more spotty. Starting out the season with a 1-1 draw against Manchester United and Leeds United. Man City 2-8. That just hurts to see. Leeds United 1-0 away or at home win. Then Man City 1-4 loss. FA Cup final, as we know, is that 0-3. So overall, This is the one I'm going to be worried about. It's going to be a sea of red. Yes, look at, I mean, all the way down so few. What was it, 5 wins? EFL Cup third round win, which is nice. They got some friendly cups in there. EFL fourth round against Fulham, Watford, not too bad. FA Cup third round against Exeter City, not a great team compared to, Fulham and things, but overall still a nice win. Cardiff, a nice win. So they did make it somewhat of a distance in the FA Cup. Unfortunately, losing out to Peterborough though, 1-3 in the FA Cup fifth round. But man, one win against Wolves, and that is all. That is a massive grouping of red right there. Losing out to Fulham at the tail end of the season, 0-4. That is hard to see. Competitions wise, we already know. Ooh, they won a friendly cup. They've got a trophy. It's probably a tiny little thing. FA Cup, knocked out in the fifth round by Peterborough United. Carabao Cup, knocked out in the quarters by Manchester United. So cup-wise, they actually did a better job than in the Premier League. Ouch. Bournemouth competitions, you'd see only the FA Cup. They were runners-up. Still a fantastic season for them. Knocked out in the fourth round by Norwich City in Carabao Cup. By Bournemouth, you have to be pleased with that. Probably not a tactic that's going to take you all the way to the top. I've seen tactics. I've tried tactics that have worked a lot better than this. But again, if this is your first tactics talk that you've seen, definitely a good place to start for Bournemouth. Definitely not so much for Leeds. And then Man City, knocked out in the round of 16 by PSG, winners of the FA Cup, runners up in the Carabao Cup. Who did they lose out to? Manchester United, 2-0. That is a tough Manchester derby. Runners up in the FA Community Shield. That's interesting. We never see that. Liverpool 2-1, winners over Manchester City in the FA Community Shield. But still, 96 points with Liverpool's 95, both of them handily beating out Manchester United in third with 75. I mean, that's a good 20 points. So they were champions long ago. And Liverpool were UCL long ago. I mean, that's insane to see. So with the stats, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Manchester City throughout all the competitions they've had, see if we can get that 280 plus goals that the maker of this tactic has had. We're starting with 132. And if we go to the Champions League, another 35, not too bad. Liverpool with 38 over everyone else. Wow, 38, 35, down to 27 and 22 with Real Madrid. That is quite a drop. Dynamo Zagreb with 17. Very well done for them. But back to the FA Cup. Bournemouth actually getting 18 along with Man City. So there's another 18 that we have. For the Carabao Cup, 15. Second to Manchester United with their 18. Leeds with 10. So not too bad for Leeds. But Manchester City getting another 15. So I'm going to add this in because I know we're nowhere near 280. But as you can see, one goal, the 2-1 win or 2-1 loss against Liverpool. That one goal, however, just brings them above 200 goals. I have not seen the 280 goals that they saw in the Turkish league, but still 200 goals isn't too bad when you've got some trophies in the cabinet, as well as, I mean, some runners up in the Carabao Cup. Probably could have done better against PSG, but they were annihilated away in France. That's just insane to see. But if we go back to the Premier League and just take a look at the stats, Man City with obviously 132 goals, absolutely phenomenal, to Liverpool's 97, Manchester United 79. That is quite a disparity between those three teams. And then down to 64 for Arsenal. Then you start getting it back into the reality of things. Fewest shots against, Man City 350. Most possession, nobody. So it's not a possession-based tactic. No dribbles made. Fewest conceded, Man City with 42, which is a nice number to see. 26 though for Liverpool. Alisson really picking it up. Most shutouts, Bournemouth with 10. Not even the other two in there. Very interesting. Most tackles won, Bournemouth with 795. Best pass completion, none of them. Most shots for Man City 874. Bournemouth with 554. And most points per game, Man City with 253. Individual stats-wise, as you can see, most goals, Holland with 61. Now that is the biggest number I think I've seen in any of these tactic talks. So if you are Man City, right here. There you go. Dominic Solanke, though, with 22. Not too bad for him. I have seen him up around there a couple of times. Most assists, Bernardo Silva with 23. Then you got Mahrez with 12, and then De Bruyne with 11. No other teams in there. Most man of the match, Erling Haaland with 17. I'm actually surprised with 61 goals that it's only 17. Best passing completion, none of the teams are there. Most dribbles made, no team. Fewest conceded. There you go. Ederson with 42. Allison with only 24. Most shout out to Allison with 22. Ederson does not even make the list. We have most tackles won. Luis Sinistera with 115. Again, I always expect the lower teams, the Leeds and the Bournemouth, if they're trying to do well, or if they're actually doing well in the league, to get more of the defensive stats than Man City would, because Man City's all-out attack. But Leeds, Bournemouth, they need to pick up the defense if they're going to do anything well with their season. So most key passes, Bernardo Silva with 150, Sergio Gomez with 123, and Jack Harrison with 112 for Leeds. Most shots, Erling Haaland, 262. Holy hell. Solanke with 132. I don't know what the average ratio is, but man, that is crazy. 262 shots, 61 goals, 51.74 minutes per goal to Solanke's 143.59. That is a crazy season, I have to say, for Man City. Bournemouth have done very well as well. Leeds United, what can you do? Sorry about that, Leeds fans. But if you're Bournemouth, take a look. If you're Man City, definitely take a look. Again, there are better tactics out there that I've seen. And if you're in a different league, if you're in the Turkish league, maybe this is going to be the absolute epitome of tactics for you. But if you are Man City, this definitely is one to look at. Hopefully you can play a little bit better away from home than they did in this. So that is it for the 4-2-3-1 Joker tactic. Again, I kind of wonder why it's called the Joker, but oh well. But that's it for me, 7FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you so much for watching. As always, take care and enjoy.